Hi, Steve Adubato here, but more importantly, we welcome back our good friend Bill Lovett,
Thanks.
who is Executive Director, New Jersey Alliance of YMCAs. We are big supporters of our local Montclair Y. By the way, let folks know real quick the history of the YMCAs and why they're so important.
Well, the Y was founded in this country over 150 years ago in Boston, and currently in New Jersey there are 37 YMCAs. 80% of New Jersey residents live within 3 miles of a Y. So we are throughout the state trying to provide service to families.
But we have you here today talking about trying to create a healthier environment, healthier culture, particularly for our kids. Why?
Well, it's interesting, Steve. If 10 or 15 years ago you and I were having a conversation about what was going on with kids' health, we probably would have focused more on parent responsibility. And what we've learned through research is that a lot of what's going on in our society has to do with the kind of environment that we're providing for families to raise kids. And that deals with access to healthy foods, access for physical activity, the kind of school environment that kids are exposed to, what's going on in childcare. So we really have tried to focus on making policy and environmental change in New Jersey.
What communities are most vulnerable?
Well,
and are they disproportionately urban?
Yeah, and the communities that are most vulnerable are communities like Camden or Newark or Trenton, where there's a real difficulty in getting access to healthy food. For example, in Camden, there's one supermarket for over 60,000 people.
Hold on, back up.
Yeah.
One supermarket.
Right.
60,000 people.
Right.
So how do they get access to it?
The food delivery system really is through corner stores. And so in Camden, I think there's like 70 to 100 corner stores. And so part of what we're trying to do is work with those corner stores to have healthy options for people, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables that they can purchase.
How do you do that? Explain it to folks.
So part of what we are able to do is we have a grant program that helps buy refrigeration equipment, and then we also help link the corner stores to produce providers, and then also help them figure out how to display and preserve the produce for sale.
What does that mean, display the produce? Why does all that matter?
Well, if you walk into a store and the produce looks old, it's in a corner, it's not attractive looking, then whether you're a kid or an adult, you're probably not going to buy it.
You know, Bill, you and I were having this conversation right before we went on the air. I said we were in the town of Montclair, and again, we love the Y, and they've been great for our kids and countless others. But I said with our children, who are still pretty young, we struggle with the conversations we have with them about healthier eating, a healthier lifestyle. Yeah. And you said, if we're struggling in a really comfortable environment, what about everybody else?
So much more difficult in many of our urban cities. And that's part of the reason why the incidence of childhood obesity is so much greater in communities of color and in urban communities.
So help us understand this. Say someone says, because you hear this a lot, if a kid is eating unhealthy for a consistent period of time, people say, oh, he or she will age out of it, or, you know, it's just a phase or whatever else. I'm convinced that the patterns we set in these earlier ages about fruit and vegetables, et cetera, and instead of drinking a lot of juice or soda, more water, that those patterns, they don't stop when you're 21. Am I wrong about that?
You're totally right. And what's interesting is a few years ago, a lot of our time was being spent with grade school kids. And although that's very important, increasingly we're focusing on preschool age children, because what the research says is what parents and kids are doing at that age really starts to set the table for what happens after.
How do you have those conversations? And by the way, is it education?
Some of it is education. Some of it is being able to access the food that is healthy to purchase. Some of it, I think, we're spending a lot of time on this, is what happens in our child care centers around the state. Because if you think about it, child care centers really function as almost a front porch of many communities, where parents are learning and interacting with each other. Everyone wants the right thing for their kids. They trust the staff to give them good advice. So we think the child care centers really have an important role to play in setting the tone and helping parents understand the importance.
You know what's so interesting, though, Bill? What about for parents themselves who are struggling with the question of being healthier themselves, eating healthier, living a healthier lifestyle? How much pressure is it to put on them, who are trying to literally put food on the table, keep things going, particularly in these incredibly difficult economic times? And then we say, and it's your responsibility to have your kids be healthier. Is that too much to ask?
Well, it can be very challenging. You know, and if you think about it, the cost of buying a lot of very high caloric fast food often is much less expensive
Yes.
than buying the healthier
And do you
food.
think people make that choice to some extent?
Yes.
Based largely on economics?
Yes.
But the consequences are very real. Help
Right.
folks understand the consequences.
Well, one of the things that we're seeing in this country is, we used to talk about type 2 diabetes
right.
as an adult disease, and increasingly now it's become a kid's disease. And one of the difficult things I think we often look at is diabetes, when it begins, doesn't manifest itself with a lot of symptoms, but the consequences of diabetes down the road for adults as they get older is just devastating. Blindness, amputation, incredible pain. And so part of what I think we're really trying to help people understand is that how critical it is, the consequences that you may face. It's a little bit like smoking if you think about
Sure.
it. That, same issue, that you don't see the immediate consequence, but down the road, you really are rolling the dice with potential
And
disease.
finally, the name of the program?
Well, we're really involved with a group called the New Jersey Healthy Communities Network, and we're working
The
with
New Jersey Healthy Communities Network.
right,
Go ahead.
working with 43 communities around the state right now. So
And that's funded by a major grant.
number of major funders are at the table with that.
Well, we in public broadcasting want to continue to be helpful in getting the word out, helping to inform, educate, and we're not supposed to advocate, but who would be against this cause?
Well, we appreciate it.
Bill Lovett is Executive Director of the New Jersey Alliance of YMCAs, and you're welcome back anytime. It's a great organization.
Thanks.
More importantly, doing important work. Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this.
The preceding program has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence, and 13 for WNET, NJTV, and WHYY. Funding for this edition of CAUCUS New Jersey has been provided by Partners for Health Foundation, Investors Bank, Virtua, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, NJM, the Give Something Back Foundation, and by the New Jersey Office of the Insurance Fraud Prosecutor. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. CAUCUS New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.